on a basic level, the transitional period during the menopause results in a big drop in estrogen, and that can impact metabolic rate. It can negatively impact bone, muscle, and also mood swings and hot flashes, of course.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hello Hot Flash, where we help you control the midlife change. I'm excited to be here today with Matt Jones of Reverse Health. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here. I'm so excited about this conversation because before I started to talk about menopause and get into the menopause phase, I didn't realize all of these tools were here for women. So I'm excited for you to share them. But before we get started, I'm going to formally introduce you. Matt is Reverse Health's resident expert in diet and nutrition with over 15 years of experience. After helping his own mother lose stubborn menopause weight and feel her best again, he made it his mission to help women worldwide understand the simple foundations of healthy weight loss, empowering them to ease menopause symptoms and reverse unwanted weight gain through smart, sustainable eating and movement. So what I got most excited about, Matt, not any of the programs. I'm like, he helped his mom. I have three sons. I'm like, this is the guy I want to meet. I need to learn from him. So again, thank you and welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about what inspired Reverse Health and specifically the focus on women's health and midlife weight loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you touched on it there, Stephanie, to be honest. And obviously, growing up, we were around dinner tables, and like the conversations often turned to, "Oh, I can't eat this anymore, or I can't eat that." And my education started, well, to be honest, I started off in sports science, so like exercise science and physiology and those things, and but I quickly realized that dietetics, nutrition was the thing that I was really interested in. So I started to like learn more about nutrition, and then I started to pick up on these conversations around the dinner table, and my mom like would talk about these low carbohydrate diets and things, and that time I kind of like wiped it off and didn't really make much of a deal out of it, but. It started to like continue, and she started to try all these different diets, and I quickly realized, well, Mum, this is happening like quite frequently. You're trying these new diets, they're not working for you. You're struggling. You're becoming frustrated with yourself. Let me try and help you. And so I kind of set about like doing my own research, like in the space of like female physiology and the menopause, and I quickly realized that there was some like significant changes going on. But there was light at the end of the tunnel, and there was like an evidence-based solution. So we started making some small changes with her, and she was good. She committed to the plan for 6 weeks, and she felt great. And she told all her office friends about it, and like it just kind of spread from there, really. And then yeah, here we are, like and that was the birth of Reverse Health, really. And like also it was quite interesting during my research. I started to pick up on the fact that like the women going through the menopause, they're preyed upon by supplement companies, by these like diets, like fad diets and things like that. They're targeted because they are like easy targets, really, because they lack motivation. They well, not necessarily lack motivation, but their self-esteem is low, their confidence is low, they feel frustrated, their body is changing drastically. And yeah, they're preyed upon. The ads, the marketing, the the stories that these supplement companies tell women is wrong, frankly. So we set about trying to create an evidence-based program to help these women and make them realize that it's not actually as difficult as they think it might be to regain their health and progress towards their weight loss goals and their health goals as well.
Talk to us a little bit about the science that you mentioned behind this. What does the science say, and how is that applied to the program that women go through or the app that we use?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will preface this by saying that I've never been through the menopause myself, nor have I had
Happen.
a
You
menstrual
know, there
cycle.
is
So obviously,
There is
So
menopause though,
yeah,
Matt. So watch
you
out.
can you might say it's rich coming from me, but obviously I had a vested interest in helping my mom, and then we realized that there was a like a big audience, and it
Yeah.
started to develop traction. So I also have developed quite an incredible network within like physiology, sports science, and dietetics. So we partnered with some of like leading like industry leaders, essentially like Dr. Nikki Key. She leads the female physiology part. She works at University of London as a physiologist there. And Dr. Shona Holson leads our sleep element of the program. She's a world-renowned sleep expert. So I utilized my network to fill the knowledge gaps, if you know what I mean, to make sure that we have this like dream team of people around us to build this evidence-based based program. But um, on a basic level, the transitional period during the menopause results in a big drop in estrogen, and most issues really relate to that significant decline in estrogen. And that declining estrogen levels that they gradually decline through the menopause, and that can impact metabolic rate. So the amount of calories you utilize each day, but it can also impact fat distribution and body composition. It can negatively impact bone, muscle, and also skin as well. And there are periods during like the menopause where the hormones will fluctuate, and those big fluctuations can influence your mood. And you'll experience those mood swings and hot flashes, of course. Um, so there's a host of symptoms that I mean there's probably 50, 60 symptoms that are associated with the menopause. So it's probably difficult for us to talk about all of them. But the most significant are related to that estrogen decline, and they impact like your physiology. We also know that the fluctuating hormones can influence body temperature and then sleep as well, so it can make sleep problematic. And lack of sleep or poor quality sleep can then negatively feed back into the body composition issues and the weight issues, and the mood issues as well. So it's all compounding, it's all there's all these problems that compound over time. And we also know that the gut microbiome will change as well. And so the gut microbiome is essentially you have this house, if you like, this home in your gut, and there's trillions of bacteria in there. And we know that during the menopause, the fluctuating hormones or the changing hormones can impact the type of bacteria in there. And in actual fact, the bacteria change so much that a female gut is actually more similar to a man's gut after the menopause, and that can have dramatic effects on physiology as well, on appetite, hunger, cravings. Yeah, pretty much everything is influenced by those changing hormones, and obviously together that makes weight gain more likely and weight loss more challenging. And weight is often the primary symptom that women become concerned about because all of a sudden their body is changing rapidly, and the thing that they can see objectively is the number on the scale. And that that brings about some negative thoughts, and that influences their confidence, of course, and the way that clothes fit and feel. And yeah, it's a compounding issues. Yeah.
It is. It is so compounding for women. And I've heard a lot of women, like, we're in the middle of this. We know we're having the hot flashes and the brain fog and low energy and the night sweats. But what I love is Reverse Health has come up with a system on how to help women, especially around weight loss. Talk to us a little bit about what Reverse Health does for women.
Yeah, absolutely. So we take an evidence-based approach, of course, as I mentioned previously. So we invested a lot of time into researching the problems that are occurring in order to develop some like evidence-based solutions ultimately. So during the reverse health process, we ask a lot of questions during the sign-up quiz, if you like.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that sign-up quiz is about us learning more about the woman specifically, about her age, her height, her weight, her lifestyle, her food preferences, her activity levels, the type of exercise that she likes to do, and her goals as well. So whether weight loss is a goal or whether she's more interested in the menopausal symptoms like the hot flashes and things like that, and the sleep issues. And then we can develop a customized plan uh, to address those problems. And that customized planning involves like nutrition. So wouldn't necessarily term it a meal plan, but I guess in its most simple form, it is a meal plan. The reason we don't like to call it a meal plan is because meal plans can be very rigid and restrictive
True.
and exclusive in nature. But the meal program or the nutrition program that we offer is very personalized, and the recommendations are unique to that woman. So we are inclusive in nature, so we include as many foods as possible rather than exclude things. Um, which is quite different. And obviously, as I mentioned, we account for their unique requirements, their goals and preferences. And then we structure the recommendations to align with the latest research relating to menopause. So again, calling on that network of professionals that we have in the space to refine the program.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's the nutrition side of things, and I am also primarily responsible for the nutrition side of things. And then we have like fitness experts. So we have Priscilla who delivers like fitness programs with a big emphasis on strength training. Because we know that during the menopause, muscle loss can increase significantly, and that can be problematic as well. So strength training is a big part, a big component of our program. So we have like strength training videos, yoga. Um, what else? We have like simple walking exercises and at home chair yoga. We're always trying to expand our library of like the nutrition library, but also the exercise library to make things more accessible for all levels. And I think we can often get bogged down into this idea that um, like a nutrition program or exercise has to be very formal. Like I have to go to the gym to do a good workout, or I have to follow the meal plan perfectly to have this perfect good nutrition program. And that's where we de develop the progress, not perfection mantra. Because ultimately, in order to improve and get better, it's not seeking perfection. It's about progressive steps daily. It's being better today than you were yesterday, taking one step at a time. And that could be introducing one vegetable as a meal. That's progress, you
Yeah.
know? So as long as yeah, you're making progress, then yeah, that's the ultimate objective. So yeah, we combine nutrition, exercise, and then also the sleep and lifestyle elements as well. So we have yeah, Dr. Shona Holson, she's developed the sleep side of things. So there's lots of information on sleep hygiene, how to like shape your room, the darkness, the temperature, all of these different things, the pre-sleep habits, the pre-sleep routines. Um, and then we have like an education course throughout the program as well. And that system basically takes you through step by step what's happening within your body to get a better understanding of the physiological changes, and then this introducing the solutions and just underpinning like providing that the science that underpins the program itself.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that's kind of, well, not really a nutshell, that's quite a long time, but um, yeah, that is reverse health, and ultimately we're trying to support like mothers around the world in regaining their health because it's a true transitional period in their life. Not just the hormonal situation, but the like the social elements as well. We can't overlook the social elements. Like the most women that we work with are mothers. Their children have left the house. They're having to adapt to this new life. So there's the social factors as well, and that can't be overlooked. And it's a true transitional period. and we try and provide that support system as well, a community where people can share their concerns, their progress, and they can bounce ideas off each other. They can ask us questions, and yeah, we're really there just to support them. And as we mentioned at the start, it all started with our own mothers, and honestly, we like, every day we have to like look and think like, how has this got so far? Because it's quite remarkable. Now we have like I'm talking to you in America, and it's yeah, it's phenomenal how
That's
rapidly it's grown.
you guys just have great moms and they created great kids. Just, we'll just give all the credit
Yeah,
back
I
to
hope
the
so.
moms.
Yeah,
So what I've loved about reverse health is the idea around it being customizable because I eat as a vegetarian primarily. Every once in a while I'll throw a piece of salmon in there, and I was able to put all of my quirks because I eat kind of quirky in there, and I'm like, oh wait, I would actually eat everything that you guys mapped out for me. And I still use the term meal plan, but I get what you're saying. You don't have
yeah,
to prescribe specifically to it. I also enjoyed that I was measuring or counting like the amount of water I drank throughout the day. So there was all these little tiny steps that were helping me. And on top of that, the exercise, it wasn't like I was being asked to go hard for 2 hours or something. It's like 20 minutes worth of exercise. And I think I did some like wall sits for like 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is easy. And it not only was it easy to do and implement, it motivated you to keep going and then just add a little bit more. And I'm like, I'm kind of competitive. So so I was just able
yeah,
to add
yeah.
a little bit more. So the app is really, really great at being able to customize exactly what each woman needs. And I think that's where menopause and the marketing around menopause gets a little off is because it's not custom. So what I need is not what my mother needed or my next door neighbor needed. I need what I need. And Reverse Health is really doing that. So that's a good testimony for you guys or a testament as to what you're actually doing. I want to circle back a little bit to food because for me I can exercise all day, but if I don't eat right, it's just not going to work. You need that holistic approach. So how should a 45-year-old woman think about nutrition differently than a 25-year-old woman?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we age, protein becomes increasingly important. I think within the media, we've started to learn that recently, and particularly women. So as I mentioned previously, metabolic rate can start to decline. People often overestimate how much metabolic rate declines. Really, it's only around 3 to 5%, but that can have a profound effect on muscle mass. So it's enough to see like marked changes in lean muscle mass, and the loss of lean muscle mass has detrimental effects on body composition again, the like blood sugar, like metabolic health. When your muscle contracts, it actually draws sugar into the muscle to use as a fuel, and that can help balance your blood sugar levels and like reduce the risk of diabetes and those kind of like chronic diseases that are so prevalent as we age. So muscle is very important, and it's not like you need to pose on a stage or on a beach like with a like ripped six-pack abs or anything like that. But it is incredibly important as we age. So preserving muscle, maintaining muscle is really important. So first and foremost, when it comes to food and developing a nutrition program, you have to think of ways in which you can increase your protein intake. So protein is essentially the building blocks that will support the growth and repair of muscle. It's like the bricks, if you like.
Mhm.
And that the bricks are used to build and repair damaged tissue. So consuming protein frequently throughout the day and like sufficient amount within the day. So perhaps around 120 to 150 grams of protein per day, depending on your size and activity levels and those things. That should be a really yeah, a basic goal, if you like. And then protein-rich foods include things like meats, chicken, turkey, then red meats, lean beef, like pork, uh, fish, various seafoods, eggs. dairy products. We often recommend low-fat dairy products, and we get some questions about why we recommend low-fat dairy products because there's a lot of misconceptions around low-fat dairy. But so I'll explain why we recommend
Yeah.
low-fat dairy now. So dairy, the primary fat in dairy products is saturated fat. And so if you take out the saturated fat, then you have like basically pure protein. And then you can, and it's also lower in calories, higher in protein, lower in calories, lower in fat, of course. But what we try and do at Reverse Health is we try and encourage our members, our female audience to increase their intake of heart healthy unsaturated fats. So you're taking out the saturated fats, but then you're adding things like flax seeds or chia seeds or nuts into the yogurt instead. So you're actually improving the fatty acid profile of the yogurt itself by removing the saturated fat and adding other heart healthy sources of fat. So we often get questions about that. So I thought it would be a good opportunity and a good platform to dispel that misconception.
Yeah.
But yeah, dairy products, great sources of protein, and then in your case, like beans, pulses, soya, all tofu, all fantastic sources of protein, and it's absolutely possible to meet your protein requirements as a vegetarian or a vegan. It just takes a little bit more thought, and
Food
but
too.
I'm sure through experience you become very yeah, very adept at managing that. So protein is incredibly important. So building meals around protein and around those higher protein foods. We often encourage people to like consume a hand-sized serving. So if you imagine you put your hand on the plate
Right.
and fill that space with protein-rich foods, whether it be chicken, red meats, or eggs, or low-fat dairy products, that would be the objective, and then build the other elements of the meal around that. So protein, critically important. And then beyond that, things like phytoestrogens from flax and soy can be beneficial, as can calcium, vitamin D, and vitamin K for bone. So again, like dairy products, fantastic sources of calcium. Vitamin D, we don't get enough of generally, especially depending on your geographic location, of course. So supplementing with vitamin D during the winter months is highly recommended. And then vitamin K can also work synergistically with vitamin D to support bone health. And we get vitamin K from leafy vegetables. So if you don't eat that many vegetables, then it might be that you need to supplement with that as well. Um, so yeah, when it comes to like practical application and foods, then protein-rich foods that like those that I mentioned first become the biggest priority.
Yeah. So we talked about proteins. You even put some fats in there because people don't often think about. We'll think protein and then kind of leave the fats off. Fats are bad, carbs are bad, but we need all three macronutrients. So, talk a little bit about carbohydrates. What type of carbohydrates should we get? Should we be eating them? When should we be eating them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like all food is like wrongly demonized in many ways, isn't it? It's
Agree.
targeted like at one point it was fat, and then a few years later carbohydrate, and then so every food has been demonized at some stage, and um, ultimately like food or foods are vehicles to deliver nutrients, and those vehicles differ in shapes and sizes, and carbohydrate is ultimately delivering fuel. So within your muscle, you have small like petrol tanks or gas tanks. And whenever you eat carbohydrate, the gas tank will fill up. And whenever you do some kind of activity, whether that be walking, running, like higher intensity, like exercise, lifting weights, then the petrol tank will go down. So, and then you're in this constant state of refilling and reducing based on your activity level. So an athlete, for example, will need to consume much more carbohydrate because they're using much more fuel. Whereas like a sedentary office worker like myself or my mother, they don't need to consume that much carbohydrate. So when we give recommendations, we often say like a fist-sized serving at each meal. And those foods, they think things like whole grains like breads, pasta, rice, potatoes. Um, yeah, again, beans and pulses contain carbohydrates. So you've got a whole host of different sources of carbohydrate, and the ones that you really want to kind of eliminate or avoid as much as possible are the refined carbohydrates. So they're the processed carbohydrates like the candy, the sweets, the sugar sweetened soft drinks, refined cereals. Like the kids cereals that you find in like the colorful things, you
Yeah.
know, they're the ones that you need to avoid or if not eliminate. And then building your meals around those whole grains. So quinoa, buckwheat, oats, whole grain breads. Those foods are going to provide sustainable fuel. Again, carbohydrate is providing energy, it's providing fuel. And we need that carbohydrate to sustain our energy levels, our mood. And carbohydrate will also provide fiber, which will feed the good bacteria in your gut. And again, going back to something that we mentioned previously, the microbiome is changing, so that
Mhm.
the whole ecosystem within your gut is changing like drastically during the menopause. So taking care of your gut with sufficient fiber and like probiotic rich foods like the Greek yogurt and things like that is really, really important. So eliminating carbohydrate is a terrible idea actually. But you just need to uh, consider the type of carbohydrate. Um, like another issue that women experience, or everyone experiences this actually, but particularly women, is like the stress response to food. So if you consume carbohydrate-rich foods, particularly refined foods on their own, you can trigger like cortisol and stress. So ultimately, your blood sugar will rise rapidly, but then it will crash dramatically as well. So say, for example, I eat like a big bowl of pasta or a bowl of cereal just on its own, like maybe a small amount of sauce, but no protein, no vegetables. My blood sugar will rise rapidly, and maybe 30 minutes later, it will crash dramatically as well. And when it drops, your body responds by releasing these other hormones. So it releases glucagon, adrenaline, and cortisol in an effort to try and get the blood sugar back up into the normal range.
Mm.
And you can imagine this is like a recipe for disaster because you've got adrenaline, which makes you act irrationally,
Right.
and then you have cortisol, which makes you like feel and act very stressed. Because ultimately your body is trying to raise blood sugar again, and the only way it can do that is by changing your behavior to find more sugar. So you then like you're like rampant, you know, you're going through the cupboards trying to find the next fix. Um, and you can completely eradicate that issue by creating balanced meals, by focusing on protein first, by consuming carbohydrate, not eliminating it, but by increasing the fiber content of that carbohydrate that you're consuming, and then adding some vegetables and fruits to the meal as well. So you're always creating those balanced meals, and that will result in a more stable blood sugar response that will kind of keep you sustained and fully fueled for 4, 5, maybe even 6 hours.
Yeah, that when you get that rhythm and understand how that works, you can immediately tell the change. Like your thinking becomes more clear, you're more active, you have more energy, you can run. It's incredible once that rhythm gets established. So that was some really great information. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And you combine that with like improved hydration through the water tracking that you mentioned previously, and like mental health can improve exponentially. Absolutely.
yeah, it sure can. I earlier in the conversation we touched on community, and before we wrap the conversation, I want to talk about that a little bit because I think that's a key. So you have the exercise part in the app, and then people learn how to eat better and move and drink and so forth. But undoubtedly you saw a missing piece, and I think this is key for a lot of women my age is that community. So talk about what that community looks like, why it was built, and how people can become a part of it.
Yeah, in actual fact, the community itself has probably become one of our superpowers. Like it's actually right now it lives in Facebook. So it's something that we're trying to improve upon, and but ultimately, like we don't want to like rock the boat in any way because the community right now is amazing. It's incredibly supportive. It provides that accountability, and the support that like allows these women to make the healthy changes, within their life, but also sustain them long term. Like we have women in there that have been there for 5, 6 years, and they then become advocates, and they like we like ourselves are we're not actually supporting the women anymore. It's the people that have been there for a long time that are going back and supporting the new members, and that's like the most inspirational thing that you could ever imagine. You
Yeah.
know, it's incredible to see like everyone supporting each other on this journey and realizing that yeah, we've actually created something way bigger than like just a nutrition program, you know. This is just women coming together and helping each other.
Yeah.
And obviously, we know from research that like accountability in this community is incredibly important. And like when you look at behavior change research, the environment around the individual has to be like good and supportive in order for people to make change. But whether that is from like a coach or a friend or like a community group, um, it's incredibly important. So yeah, the community itself reduces the what's the word like the um, the nerves, maybe the anxiety
Yeah. Yeah,
that
I can
women
see that.
have around starting something new
Yeah.
because ultimately they have probably found us through an ad online, and they have the same doubts as any other program. They think, oh, well, maybe it's one of those supplements that I purchased 10 years ago that didn't work, or I bought this bad diet that didn't work. And like we they don't know what we're actually about until they become a member of this community, and it validates everything then. So the community helps us reduce that anxiety and reduces that sense of like feeling alone in this journey. It provides that encouragement on the hard days, and we can obviously educate through the community as well, and we can provide inspirational leaders within that group to create this like positive like yeah message
Yeah.
around. And one thing that we often try and encourage is like basic behaviors. So we talk about like discipline over motivation and all these things, and yeah, we use the community to educate and support everyone.
Yeah, that's really awesome. To me it feels like, and it is a holistic approach because you can't just exercise, you can't just eat, you need community. You need to be able to talk about this to people because it's going to help with stress. You need the sleep part. So you're building this holistic picture of what it takes in order for people to navigate through menopause. And I love, and that's why I wanted Reverse Health to be part of the Hello Hot Flash family because I'm like, I'm super excited about this. This actually works and it makes sense. Yeah. Tell folks
Yeah.
a little bit more about if we left anything off about the app.
Oh, about the app. Well, honestly, the app itself is probably quite clunky and there's many tech issues, so it's ever evolving and ever improving. But it's a constant headache, honestly, and we're always trying to improve it. But we're incredibly proud of the community that we've developed and the people that we've supported along the way. And honestly, we're only just getting started. So it's super exciting to think where we'll be in another 10 years time. So we're just like really thankful that we've got this far and found people like yourself. And yeah, to be helping people from across the globe is truly amazing.
Yeah. Matt, what did we leave off? What else do we need to tell our listeners?
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I guess like
How to
come
find
and
you?
yeah, come and check out the app. See if we can help you in some way. We've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of women from across the globe. It's like starting with our own mothers, of course, and we do have an evidence-based plan that, and we are confident that we can help all women
Mhm.
going through this difficult period in their life, and we want them to feel confident and regain their health and regain their confidence again. and it's not as difficult as people think it is. So yeah, we don't promise to have all the answers, but we have professionals in the team that can really provide the support to help you progress.
Yeah, I've seen it as a solid foundation, and that's often what people need. We just need a foundation, and then we can continue to build upon that. Where can people find you or more information about reverse health?
Yeah, so we are at Reverse Health on Facebook and Instagram. We're at reverse.health is our website. And I think that's also the App Store. You could find us there as well. Um, I guess if you just Google Reverse Health, we have a ton of blog posts, so that it's likely that the blog post will come up first, and you can find us there. Yeah.
And I'll make sure I'll do the research for everyone. I'll make sure that there's links to Reverse Health so you guys can learn more. If you want to take advantage of the app, I'll make that available to you guys as well. So again, just check out the show notes. Before we leave, Matt, I always ask folks, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self, what's one piece of advice would you give yourself?
I would say don't rush.
Hmm.
Take your time. And I think in when I was 25, I wanted to take on the world and like often tried to take shortcuts in many ways. And yeah, I would say just yeah, don't rush, take your time and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
No problem, Stephanie. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to Hello Hot Flash, where we help you control the midlife change. Make sure to check out the show notes for all of the information that we mentioned today. And once again, here's to your health. Many women hit midlife and suddenly nothing works the way it used to, especially our metabolism. It changes fast, and a lot of programs totally ignore that change. Reverse Health, they're different. It's a science-based program created specifically for women over 40, women who are perimenopausal or postmenopausal, women whose bodies, hormones, and schedules have changed. When you join Reverse Health, you get a personalized plan built around what works now. Smart movement like wall Pilates, strategic fasting, hormone balanced meals, and simple tracking to keep everything realistic. And here's what surprises most women. You don't have to wait months to feel a difference. Many women feel a difference on day one. More energy, more clarity. If you're ready for something designed for your midlife body, visit the link in the show notes to learn more about Reverse Health. Your midlife deserves a program built for you.